Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Thursday Night Madness, live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Golem F. Michael Fletcher, alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the arrival of Michael Bullock. If we do get him, then it's great. If we don't, then it will be fine. We will probably see him on Friday or Saturday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. So, with that said, we're just gonna dive right on in. You know how we do this. We start out with AEW. Well, we start out with NXT, the second week of the Great American Bash, and then we will follow that up with AEW Dynamite that went down last night. So, second week of the Great American Bash, we started out with Trick Williams going one-on-one with the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. When it was all said and done, the winner of the bout in 12 minutes and 59 seconds was Pete Dunne. Yeah, the Bruiserweight getting a victory over Trick Williams, hitting him with the bitter end and getting a clean victory. You can say this was somewhat of an upset. I think a lot of people thought that this was going to be Trick Williams to win, and for Pete Dunne to win this one, I'll give this 3 stars, even for the shock value of the upset. But at the end of the day, this was a hard-hitting match, be a man fight, and Pete Dunne getting a humongous win over a former NXT champion. So Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
12:59, did you say?
Yes, it is.
Okay. 3 1/4, 3 1/2. And I'll tell you, MF, this was a welcome surprise result as Trick continues to struggle to find his focus after losing the NXT championship. The result allows for a longer rivalry between two men who showed some solid chemistry. Pete Dunne was the ring general throughout, pushing the pace and allowing Trick his flourishes. With Pete Dunne seemingly focused on NXT for the time being, he can add so much as a veteran to this roster by helping to guide younger talent as an in-ring worker and a backstage producer. So, not much more to say here. We'll give this about 3 1/4 to 3 1/2 stars to start it off. So, yeah, definitely the shocker of well, not the shocker. That's coming later, but nonetheless, 3 1/4, 3 1/2 for me. So, with that being said, MF, let's move on to the first of our 3 title defenses.
Yes, it was. It was for the Women's North American Championship. The champion, Kalani Jordan, putting the title on the line against Tatum Paxley, winner of the bout in 10 minutes and 3 seconds, and still the NXT Women's North American Champion, Kalani Jordan. Anthony, it is yours.
3 1/4 on this one, MF. One of the toughest tests for a young rising star is learning how to make your opponents look good without losing your mystique. In that regard, Kalani Jordan has never looked better. She sold Tatum Paxley like her most dangerous challenge yet, working much of the match with a limp. She had to adjust her offense to sell the injury and have the crowd convinced that the challenger would take the title. Of course, it's far from time for Kalani to lose her gold, as she is genuinely getting better with each big match. By the time this reign is over, she will be in the conversation for one of NXT's best workers. And Wendy Chu watched the match from the entrance, and after it was over, she gave Tatum Paxley her doll back, only to attack her while staring down the champion. Well, so much for that that supposed alliance with Tatum Paxley and Wendy Chu, I guess. So, yeah, with the way it's looking right now, MF, if I'm going to be honest with you, I think Wendy Chu is going to be the one that ultimately dethrones Kalani Jordan for that Women's North American Championship. So that's just how I feel about it. 3 1/4 for this. So not much more to say. MF, your thoughts?
I'd say about 3. I'll give you that. I thought they did a really good job with it. I thought it was a solid matchup. And I also appreciate the way Kalani's been working, man. She's made a believer out of me. If you remember, when they did the ladder match initially and everything else, I had her basically panned. I had her saying there was no way she was going to win the title. You remember, Anthony, we practically dismissed her as a legitimate threat for the North American Championship, and now here she is, and she's making believers out of you. She made a believer out of me, and like we said, for silly us to think that she had no chance because she was too damn young. So I mean, yeah, solid matchup, 3 stars. Next up we had was the NXT title on the line. The champion, Ethan Page, the challenger, Oro Mensah, and it was Ethan Page winning the match. 9 minutes and 10 seconds. A very good NXT title fight. 3 stars for me, and it was exactly what it needed it to be. Oro had a moment where it looked like he was going to win the title. However, Ethan Page was resourceful enough that he was able to overcome it and successfully defend the title. Anthony, it is all yours.
What was that time again? Time of the
9:10.
9:10?
Yep.
Okay. 3 stars here. The build for this match should have landed it as either the opener or the main event. Both men competed like this was the most important clash of the night. Ethan Page let Oro Mensah run, and the challenger delivered the best work of his career. While On Site is still finding himself as a potential main event act, he is doing more than ever before. Hopefully, he gets more opportunities from here. All Ego is not a top in-ring worker, but he is a reliable veteran in terms of maximizing the spotlight on others. He did that with Oro Mensah. It should be fun to see who steps up to him next. Solid 3 stars for me. So, that being said, too bad Bullock's not here because, well, his new favorite wrestler is up next in what I call the Battle of the Joes.
It was Joe Hendry going up against Joe Coffey of Gallus. Joe Hendry winning the match in 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
But second worst fight of the night here. This is about 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. This wasn't the most involved match, but it was impressively effective. The fans' complete commitment to Joe Hendry sold the action, and he hit every beat in riding that reaction. It felt like a main event star competing just to please his fans. Joe Coffey played his role well as the bruiser heel who was simply outmatched. Once again, Hendry has fit into NXT like a hand in glove, and he has become one of the most obvious benefactors of the TNA partnership. The whole NXT crowd sang Henry's theme during his entrance, and later he got them singing Don't Stop Believing. If that's not proof that this guy is insanely over, I don't know what is. I mean,
yeah.
And you notice, what did he say after the match was over? I think I'll stay. I like it here, and I might just stay for a lot longer. And that's what he told Shara Schreiber, that he'd be appearing next week on NXT, and he'll face anyone who has a problem with that. So, and let's just say, well, 2 Gallus members down, 1 to go. He knocks off Joe Coffey here, and if you saw it on Impact earlier tonight, he was in the main event of tonight's Impact, TNA Impact, and he went up against Wolfgang of Gallus, and he won that match as well. So Mark Coffey is the last one, is the last piece of that Gallus puzzle. So
yeah,
maybe we'll see that maybe we'll see that next week, or maybe it'll be somebody different. I don't know. But Joe Hendry, what can I say, man? He continues to get more and more and more and more over. And of course, the big announcement about TNA, their biggest event of the year, they finally announced a date and location for it. So could that be the night where Joe Hendry gets his big moment? We shall see. But that he should have had at Slammiversary. But besides the point. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. So MF, 2 Gallus members down, 1 more to go for the most over wrestler in the world right now, Mr. Joe Hendry.
Yeah, no, it was a solid match. I'll give about 2.5 stars too. They could have done differently with it. Certain elements could have been a little different, but no, at the end of the day, the right man won. I'm not going to be too mad about it. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say on that one. Ren Sinclair versus Kendall Gray. Ren Sinclair wins in 4 minutes. We don't really need to talk about that. We get into the main event.
There actually was one small. There were actually two teeny tiny minuscule stakes in this.
Tidbit. Go ahead.
Thing is, well, we're not going to talk about the match, but thing is, with this win, two things happened. Number one, Kendall Gray, or I should say Ren Sinclair, is now a full-fledged member of the No Quarter Catch crew. She's in now. And the other caveat with this win, Charlie Dempsey earns himself another chance at that NXT Heritage Cup. And this Tuesday night on NXT, he will challenge Tony D'Angelo for the Heritage Cup. So, yeah, it was a nothing match, and it was the worst fight of the night. But Ren Sinclair,
I don't know. Something tells me Dempsey's probably going to win this now. I think Dempsey takes the Heritage Cup because now that Ren Sinclair's there, I think it's going to be you scratch my back, I scratch your back. I know you know what I did, but if you help me win the title, now you're part of No Quarter's Catch. I want you to help me get my Heritage Cup back. I think she might do it.
Very possible. Very possible. So this was the worst fight of the night. It was about 1.5 to 2. Long story short, the action was fine, hardly memorable. Kendall Gray hasn't shown much to stand out from the pack, and Ren Sinclair looked a bit uncertain with a submission focus to her offense, but the right moves were made for the future. Ren Sinclair makes the No Quarter Catch crew more interesting. And Charlie Dempsey, like you said, is ready to potentially reclaim the Heritage Cup with a new look group because Tavion Heights is over in Japan. Isn't he doing that? He's probably doing, what is he doing? The G1, or is he doing something down there?
No, he's doing something for Noah. He's doing something for Pro Wrestling Noah. There's like a King of the Juniors going on right now, and that he's part of.
Okay, so that's what he's doing down there. Okay, so it's a 1.5 to 2, but the only reason why normally I would have said fine, move on, but the two caveats needed to be addressed. Ren Sinclair now in No Quarter Catch crew, and next week, Charlie Dempsey, Tony D for that Heritage Cup.
And in the main event for this show, it was Nathan Frazier and Axiom. They went up against MSK, Zachary Wentz, and Wes Lee, winners of the bout, 10 minutes and 31 seconds, and still the NXT Tag Team Champion Axiom and Nathan Frazier. But then after the match was over, there was a little bit of a bonding moment. Trey Miguel with the boys saying, this is not the end of it. You're going to get another shot at these belts back, man. It's not going to take 2 years. Don't worry about it. We'll get this back. And the next thing you know, Wes Lee turns on the Rascals. That absolutely destroys Trey Miguel, destroys Zachary Wentz, and absolutely goes on a heel rampage. Shocking the fan at the CWC. I was stunned. Florio was stunned. Bullock was stunned. Why, Wes? Why is the word of the day? Anthony Florio, what the hell happened?
I don't know. Oh, how am I going to follow that? Okay, give me a moment here. Okay, I might be overrating this, but I don't give a damn. This was the fight of the night. I'm giving this 4 stars. This was wow. All right. Unreal expectations. Unreal expectations can be difficult to meet. And Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus MSK was floated as a possible match of the year candidate before it even happened. But, I'm actually going to bump it down 3.5, 3 3/4. It was not quite that good. It was still a fun match, elevated by serious athletic talent in both corners. Everyone competed at a high level, hardly slowing down to catch a breath. It would have been a great first effort for a longer tag team feud, but the aftermath makes this a one-off dream match that could have been more with a stronger pace and story focus. Wes Lee's heel turn was out of nowhere. It made for a great dramatic moment, but it feels like too much too soon. The Rascals still had story to tell together, and Wes Lee has some serious work to do to sell himself as a heinous heel after years of winning over fans. This is one moment that is hard to judge at this time. It will come down to the next few weeks of fallout. In an interview, Wes Lee said that reuniting with the Rascals was the best moment of his career. And with this win, now Nathan Frazier and Axiom, no rest for the weary. They now have to defend the NXT Tag Team Championship Tuesday night on NXT against Ridge Holland and Andre Chase of Chase University. Interesting, and that just became interesting here, especially with what's going on with Chase U, with the tension with Ridge Holland. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I'm going to put a little Vince Lombardi twang on this. What in the name of Michael Hickenbottom is going on around here? Oh, my goodness gracious. I mean, Shawn Michaels, dude, what are you thinking with this? I mean, like I said, MF, the Rascals still had some story to tell here. We had the treehouse. They brought it. They gave us the treehouse.
Yeah.
And how excited we were seeing these guys back together. And I'll be honest with you, I thought for sure MSK was walking out with those tag team titles. I really, really did. This was a double shocker. Not only that Frazier and Axiom went over, but the bigger shocker, Wes Lee turning heel out of nowhere, turning his back on his brothers. I mean, that would be like if I did that to you and Bullock, or if Bullock did that to us, or if you did it to me and Bullock, MF. It would be like any of us turning on each other, which would never happen, by the way. But still, I mean, HBK, man, you pulled the trigger on this. You better give us a damn good build and give us a reason to take this seriously, because I mean, we're not really that thrilled about it. And I know if Bullock was here, Bullock would be unleashing hell. So, yeah. I mean,
I'm pretty sure Bullock would probably be on a rampage right now, looking for his golden shovel to bury somebody.
Well, it was HBK and Creative. They're the ones that pulled the trigger on this, so they better give us a reason to take this seriously. I mean, it's like what Vince said at the '94 Survivor Series. I feel betrayed. I mean, we all feel betrayed because of this. Wes Lee. I mean, if I was confronting him, I would have said what The Rock said about Hogan in 2002. They loved you. They believed in you. And hell, I believed in him. You believed in him. Bullock believed in him. We all believed in him. And then you go and do this? Nah, man.
Yeah.
That's messed up. Beyond messed up. I hope there's a good reason for this. Make it make sense, HBK. Make it make sense. Because for me, it doesn't make sense. And honest to God, MF, I have no clue what to make of it. I really don't. 3.5, 3 3/4 fight of the night for me. So, MF, double shocker. Not only with the retention by Frazier and Axiom, but Wes Lee turning heel out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think that's the kicker, is that it was the heel turn. More than anything else, that was it. I don't know what to even say. This was absolutely just incredible. And I don't know if there's anything else that we can say about it. This was just really good storytelling more than anything else. So we'll see how it plays out. All right. So all in all, overall, I think they did a really good job. I think this was easily a 7.5 out of 10 show. There wasn't really anything bad. It was only one bad match the whole night. Other than that, solid storyline progression. This Great American Bash proved to be a success for NXT. They did a really good job. 2 very solid weeks. 7.5. I'll even go as far as 8. So, Anthony, it is yours. We'll get ready for AEW.
I'm right there with you. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. NXT absolutely nailed Great American Bash. Week 1 was good with a great main event. Week 2 was great with a very good main event. What made this second week even better was the consistency of the work from everyone involved. Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus MSK may not have lived up to crazy expectations, but it was still great wrestling. Kalani Jordan showed her versatility, selling big time for Tatum Paxley, and All Ego Ethan Page made Oro Mensah look as good as he ever has. Joe Hendry had a successful debut, while the feud between Trick Williams and Pete Dunne heated up with a great first bout. This was everything the Gold brand should be for its special event shows. It came off as a lower level premium live event, and everyone who watches NXT will be talking about the results and action for weeks to come. And if we got, and you thought the last 2 weeks were good, just imagine what it's going to be like when it arrives on the CW. October 1 in the IWC capital of the world. Oh, by the way, Chicago, with CM Punk making an appearance. And then the following week, October 8th, St. Louis, Randy Orton's going to be in the house.
Yep.
So, oh my, CW. My, oh my. That's going to be something else. So, I'm right there with you, man. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. So, with that, we move on to AEW Dynamite as we continue on the road to All In at Wembley Stadium.
Started out in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at the LJVM Coliseum, which I believe that's on the campus of Wake Forest University, I believe that is.
Absolutely.
I think.
The Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
Yep.
Home of the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
Of the ACC, trust me, I know that place very well.
Absolutely.
Rivals of Duke and North Carolina. So, started out with the AEW American Champion MJF versus Kyle Fletcher in an eliminator, and it was MJF winning the match in 17 minutes and 40 seconds. Solid opener, great matchup. 3.5 stars is my rating. Could have been better in certain areas, but not much. Of course, MJF, doing what he needs to do, being the smarmy heel. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it is yours.
I'm gonna go as far as to call this my fight of the night, MF. I got to give this in excess of 4 to 4.25 stars. These are 2 of AEW's best, and both are still younger than 30. What we saw here was 2 men who are way ahead of the curve, casually putting on a great performance. They weren't even trying their hardest, and this is still one of the best matches you will see all week. And then after it was over, MJF knocked out referee Paul Turner with his All-American Championship belt, while Will Ospreay tried to run the ring from backstage, but was barricaded by production truck crates. And then MJF knocked out Kyle Fletcher with the Dynamite Diamond Ring, kept beating on him, busted him open, until Will Ospreay chased him away. And man, incredible match. And let me tell you something. Biting someone is one of those heel moves that only makes sense for some villains. It's not something MJF needs to do to get heat. And the way Fletcher sold some of his bumps was awesome. The cradle DDT MJF hit looked especially good. And MJF's kick out after a pile driver is about as close as it gets. I would have cheated it on 4.5, but there was some chicanery at the end, so it's around 4 to 4.25. But for me, this was my fight of the night. Excellent match. There isn't anything else left to say except MF. The show kind of went downhill from here, and not quite in a good way.
Next up, we have was Mariah May versus Viva Van, and it was Mariah May in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
Real quick, is it just me, or does Viva Van kind of have a resemblance to Io Sky a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. Agreed.
She kind of reminds me of her. But anyways, 2.5 stars. solid performance, but it was never about making Viva Van look good. It was about making Mariah May look like a dangerous competitor as she prepares to challenge Toni Storm for that AEW Women's Championship at All In at Wembley. She would hit a running knee followed by the Mayday, but she decided to finish her opponent with a Storm Zero to add insult to injury. And then Mariah May was handed a gift, a photo of her and Toni Storm with "Die Mariah Die" written on the back. And then Toni Storm rushed her from out of nowhere, but officials prevented her from using the shoe on her former partner. And May's headbutt looked great from the angle we saw it, and the way Toni Storm has managed to seamlessly change her character again has been fun to see. This is going to be one of those dark horse matches when it comes to All In at Wembley. This could be a potential sleeper fight of the night here. So we got to wait and see how it looks. But we still have a few weeks to think about it, and a good couple weeks or so to think about it. So, but I'm back and forth on it right now. So 2.5 stars. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say about 2.5. I think they did an all right job. Nothing more to say on it, so we're just gonna move right on along. Next up, we got it's Katsuyori Shibata going up against Brian Keith. Shibata wins it in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Again, another good match. I would probably say about another 2.25, 2.5. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5. The match we got from Brian Keith and Shibata was a decent match with a few good moments, but the majority of it took place during a break. So it was hard to get too invested in the action. Hook's return got a nice pop, though. So nothing really more to say on that. So that's another 2.5. I agree with that. So with that, we move on to 6-man tag team action, or trios action, as they call it.
Yeah, it was Orange Cassidy and FTR against Roderick Strong, Rush, and the Beast Mortals. And it was the face team, FTR and Orange Cassidy, winning in 16:50. Anthony, it's yours.
Wow, another very good match here. Second best fight of the night for me. Give it somewhere between 4 and 4.25. I'm just checking in here. All right. This was a fun trios match with some highlight reel moments for all 6 men. It had the right mix of chaos and smooth action. The Acclaim showed up, and what looked like it would be a promo exchange turned into a brawl with security trying to keep everyone apart. And I'm thinking FTR and Acclaimed maybe at Wembley. I mean, that's my thinking on it. Maybe the winner will be in line for a future tag title opportunity. But then again, the Acclaimed already have a tag team title opportunity against the EVPs. So we don't know when that match is. Maybe they may do that at Wembley. I don't know. But yeah, definitely looking like an FTR and Acclaimed feud. That could be fun. So we'll wait and see how that works out. But 4, teetering on 4.25. This was my second best fight of the night. So not much more to say. MF, your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I mean, this was a 4-star bout. I thought they did a really good job with it. It was a solid fight, really enjoyable, and really nothing more to say there. Next up, we had Camille going up against 2 women in a handicap match. She won the match in 1:40. Dud, worst fight of the night. Then, I'm sorry, the worst promo of 2024 goes to Mercedes Moné and that weak ass crowd at Wake Forest University. This is why Wake Forest sucks, because they can't get behind Mercedes Moné. Like, come on, guys, really? I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I need to be that guy. I know the promo sucked, and I know it was bad, and the crowd sat on their hands, no reaction, whatever. It was painful to watch. That was an absolute cringe fest. But, like, come on. You got to be a little more better than that. But there was a little bit of a payoff. Dr. Britt Baker appeared on screen. The suspension has been lifted. Tony Khan overruled the EVPs and basically said, no, Britt Baker Your suspension's been lifted. You can come back next week if you want to. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say here. Anthony, I mean, worst promo of 2024 by a country mile, and it wasn't even close.
Absolutely. And the build to this match hasn't really been all that good either. If I'm being honest, I mean, Tony Khan hasn't really given us a reason to care about this feud. So these are two of the biggest egos in the women's division, and we haven't really gotten anything. I mean, Sasha Banks is treating it more like she's still in WWE, or Mercedes Moné is still like she's Sasha Banks in WWE, like she's in their locker room. And Britt Baker, who had that altercation with MJF's girlfriend, where's that Britt Baker? That's the Britt Baker we want to see. We still have a couple of weeks to build this thing. Give us a reason to care. I mean, it's not rocket science, Tony Khan. It's not rocket science. It's not. But you're going about it like it is. And we would have, MF and I, Bullock, we would have booked this feud 10 times better. I mean, there would have been a lot more intensity, and we would have given the fans a reason to care, not to sit on their damn hands and look like a bunch of dang fools. But, it is what it is. So, TK, brother, you got to give us a reason to care, because if you don't, then how can we take this match seriously come Wembley? So, let these two girls cook. They can cook, but you're not letting them. Let them go. Let them cook. Come on. You got a couple weeks to build it, brother. Come on. So, and I do agree, MF. Yes, that was a very cringeworthy. Once upon a time, she was one of the best talkers, Mercedes.
Yeah.
I mean, when she was Sasha Banks,
she can't deliver. She is like she lost her fastball with the promos. It's like she's lost her fastball. I think
lost her mojo.
I think going to AEW might have been the worst thing she's ever done, because nobody has liked her in AEW. Nobody's liked her in AEW.
No, absolutely not. WWE would welcome her back with open arms. Vince isn't there anymore. Papa H, he's cooking.
Yeah.
He's cooking. He's not just cooking. He's giving us 5-course meals every week. And on pay-per-view, too. So
there's been a lot of people have been wondering why Britt Baker hasn't gone to WWE yet with everything going on. But, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Main event, Anthony, you got to lead off.
Go to WWE, run if you have to.
Yeah. Main event, Bryan Danielson versus Jeff Jarrett. Anything goes. Danielson wins the match in 16 minutes. Florio, it is yours.
Special guest commentator, none other than the Hall of Famer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I mean, how awesome was it to see him? I mean, he's 71 years old, and he still looks damn good. I mean, man alive, that's unbelievable. And it was so great to see him. Last night's main event was the match that was set up last week between Jeff Jarrett and Bryan Danielson. The special guest commentator for this no disqualification bout was Hall of Famer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Initially, I thought he was going to be the guest referee for a moment, but I'm like, okay, I'll take him on commentary. That's fine. This was another 4 to 4 1/4 star match. With Bryan Danielson being capable of a lot more than Double J at this point in his career, it was smart to make this a hardcore match with a lot of weapon spots instead of trying to make it a technical clinic, and it led to a much better match. And after the match was over, Jay Lethal and Karen Jarrett came out to check on Jeff, and Wheeler Yuta checked up on Bryan Danielson, and then after Danielson and Jarrett, had their little moment of respect, the World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland comes out, and he cuts a scathing promo to end the show. And AEW hyped the match throughout the show with a couple of videos. Danielson sold a low blow from Jarrett almost too realistically. Steamboat's mic should have been turned up a notch or two. And there was a little hiccup when Jarrett tried to hit the stroke. And Double J was busted open right at the end of the match. 4 to 4.25. But if I'm going to be honest with you, MF, the fight of the night for me was the match with MJF and Kyle Fletcher. That to me was the fight of the night. And the 6-man and this, I mean, those were the 3 fights of the night for me. And could have been a little more, but honestly, it didn't really need to be. No doubt about the outcome. We all knew Bryan Danielson was going over here. And this match got me a little more ready for the match that I'm looking the most forward to when it comes to the All-In card, which is the Swerve Strickland, Bryan Danielson World Heavyweight title match. Title versus career. Bryan loses. His career is over. So we shall wait and see. But my God, that is going to be so amazing at Wembley. I can't wait to see it. So for me, 4 to 4.25 stars. All right. MF's back in. Okay, so MF, did you give your thoughts on the main event, or I started it, right?
You started it. It's 4.
Right.
It's 4 stars. I thought they did a really good job with it. It was a solid action all the way through. Overall review, 7. I mean, it was good, not great. This was one of the weaker AEW Dynamite shows, and I think it's going to reflect in the ratings this week. I just feel like, I don't know, there's just something wrong with AEW right now. I just can't put my finger on it. It's just it's lacking the depth or the excitement that we normally have seen in the past, and yeah, it's been a little rough for AEW lately. So nothing more to say, Anthony. Give us your final thoughts, and then we'll call it a night.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for me too. Last night's Dynamite was almost entirely devoted to building the card and feuds for All In, and that was the right decision. We saw several storylines addressed, such as Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson, MJF versus Will Ospreay, Tony Storm versus Mariah May, FTR versus The Acclaimed, Hook versus Chris Jericho, and, as awful as it was, Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné. As far as the action was concerned, the trios bout and the main event were good, but it was MJF and Kyle Fletcher who stole the show. They put on a fantastic performance and kept MJF's feud with Will Ospreay in the spotlight. If you only go out of your way to see one thing from this show, make it MJF and Kyle Fletcher. So, solid 7 out of 10 for me. I 100% agree with the rating. Solid, but not overly spectacular. And we can't have shows like this, especially when we're so close to All In. So, I believe we only have 2 more shows. There's only 2 more Dynamites before we get to Wembley. So, Tony Khan and company better make them count. So, you better give us a couple of bangers for the next 2 weeks. So, nothing more to say. MF, let's put a bow on it.
All right, and we are done for the night. So I believe now this is where we're gonna have to debate. Either it's gonna have to be Friday or Saturday. I don't know, but we're gonna do Cerebral Smack Talk. I don't have really anything going on. Obviously, SmackDown Live. We do have Big 3, but Big 3 I believe is Sunday this week because it's the semifinal.
That is true. I would say Friday because I got big plans with my family on Saturday night. So
all right, so we'll do it Friday at 10:30. All right, fine enough with me. All right, okay. So Friday at 10:30, we'll do it. Obviously, like I said, SmackDown Live, and then we'll be previewing the semifinal, the final 4 of the Big 3. Who's going to Boston to be playing for the championship? We'll find out this weekend. So nothing more to say. For Anthony Foyle, I am Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you all on Friday.
Tomorrow night. Goodbye.